There is a lie that has been sold to students for generations. It is a dangerous, pervasive lie that says academic success is a purely transactional exchange, that you pay for good grades with your sleep, your sanity, and your social life. We are told that the secret is the grind. We are told to hustle, to suffer, and to pull all-nighters until our eyes burn. But if suffering was the true key to success, why is there always that one student in every class who breaks the rule? You know exactly who I'm talking about. They don't look exhausted. They have a social life. They aren't living in the library. Yet, when the results come back, they walk away with a perfect score, while you, after sacrificing your weekend and your mental health, are barely scraping a B. It feels unfair. It feels like they must just be naturally gifted geniuses, and you simply aren't cut out for it. But I am here to tell you that intelligence is rarely the defining variable. The difference isn't that they are working harder than you. The difference is that their entire operating system is fundamentally different from yours. As we move into 2026, the old methods, the frantic highlighting, the last-minute cramming, the brute force approach, are dead. If you want to change your transcript, you don't need more motivation, and you certainly don't need more stress. You need a total system reboot. Today, we are going to dismantle the mindset of the average student. I am going to walk you through a comprehensive 6-step protocol that doesn't just change how you study, it changes who you are. This is the blueprint for engineering a straight-A identity. Let's start by destroying the most dangerous misconception in education, the idea that effort equals results. Most students operate on a linear assumption. They think, if I sit in the library for 6 hours, I have done 6 hours of work. They wear their exhaustion like a badge of honor. You'll hear them say, I studied for 10 hours yesterday, as if the time itself is the achievement. But let me ask you a serious question. If you go to the gym and sit on a bench staring at the weights for 2 hours scrolling through your phone, did you actually work out? Of course not. You were present, but you weren't effective. This is exactly what happens in the library. It creates what psychologists call the illusion of competence. You are rereading your notes. You are highlighting sentences until the entire page is neon yellow. You are listening to lectures at 2 times speed while scrolling Instagram. This is passive learning. It feels like work because it consumes your time, but it creates a false sense of security. Your brain recognizes the words on the page, so it whispers to you, yeah, I know this, I've seen this before, but recognizing something is not the same as mastering it. The top 1% of students, the ones you are jealous of, don't care about time. They care about output. They don't ask, how long did I study? They ask, what can I prove that I know? Here is the litmus test for step 1, and it is brutal but necessary. Close your eyes right now. Can you explain the complex concept you just studied to a 5-year-old from scratch without peeking at your notes? If the answer is no, then you haven't learned it. You've just looked at it. So, the first shift for 2026 is this. Stop clocking your hours. Start clocking your understanding. If you can't teach it, you don't know it. And if you don't know it, no amount of highlighting is going to save you when you are sitting in that exam hall. Now, to execute the kind of deep work required for real learning, you need fuel. And this is where most of you run out of gas before you even start. You are relying on a fuel source that is biologically designed to be unreliable. Motivation. Motivation is an emotion. It is a feeling. It is a temporary spike of dopamine caused by a new idea or a sudden fear of failure. Relying on motivation to study is like relying on the weather to get to work. If it's sunny, great, you go. But if it's raining, you stay in bed. You cannot build a straight-A career on fair weather habits. This leads us to step 2, the shift from motivation to discipline. And when I say discipline, I don't mean it in a scary military sense. I mean consistency. I mean automaticity. The highest performing students don't wake up and ask themselves, do I feel like studying calculus today? That question is irrelevant to them. It is not a negotiation. They have a system. At 7 p.m., the phone goes away. The laptop opens. It happens every single day at the same time, in the same place. When you do this, you build a Pavlovian response in your brain. You sit in that specific chair, under that specific light, and your brain triggers a signal, okay, it's time to focus. The resistance fades. You stop fighting yourself. You stop wasting mental energy deciding if you are going to work, and you just start working. Motivation is for amateurs. Discipline is for professionals. And if you want professional results, you need to show up even when, especially when, you don't want to. Okay, so you've stopped counting hours and you're showing up consistently. But what do you actually do with that time? This is where the mechanics of genius come into play. If you take nothing else away from this audio, please listen closely to this part. You need to replace passive review with two non-negotiable techniques: active recall and spaced repetition. Let's talk about active recall first. This is simple, but it is painful, which is why most people avoid it. Active recall means retrieving information from your brain without help. It means closing the book and forcing yourself to write down everything you remember. You know that feeling when you're trying to remember a fact, and it's on the tip of your tongue? Your brain actually feels like it is straining? That feeling is the feeling of learning. That struggle is your neurons physically forging new pathways and strengthening connections. If your study session feels easy, if you're just nodding along to a textbook, you are wasting your time. Comfort fosters forgetting. Struggle creates memory. You have to embrace the difficulty. You have to be willing to sit there and sweat a little bit as you try to pull the information out of your head. That is the gym session for your mind. Then you have to lock it in with spaced repetition. The human brain is an efficiency machine. It is designed to delete anything it thinks isn't useful. This is known as the forgetting curve. You learn something today, and by tomorrow you have likely forgotten 50% of it. By next week it's almost gone. To hack this, you need to space out your reviews. You review a topic today, then again in 24 hours, then in 3 days, then a week, then a month. By spacing it out, you are interrupting the forgetting curve. You are sending a loud signal to your subconscious. Hey, this information keeps coming up. It must be vital for my survival. Do not delete it. In 2026, throw away the highlighters, download Anki, use Quizlet, or just cover your notes and force yourself to speak the answers out loud. It will feel harder. It will feel slower than just reading, but the results will be exponential. You will find that when exam time comes, you don't need to cram because the information is already stored in your long-term memory. Now, let's move to step 4. We need to talk about the enemy. We are living in an attention economy. Trillion-dollar companies are spending billions of dollars to engineer algorithms designed to steal your focus. They employ the smartest psychologists in the world to keep you scrolling. If you think you can fight them with just willpower, you will lose. You need a strategy to protect your focus. There is a concept in psychology called attention residue. Research shows that if you check your phone for just 3 seconds to read a text, your focus remains fractured for up to 20 minutes afterwards. Your brain is still processing that text even while you are trying to read a textbook. You cannot do deep, high-level thinking while multitasking. It is biologically impossible. If you are studying with Netflix in the background or with your phone buzzing on the desk, you aren't studying. You are just snacking on information. Top students treat focus like a sacred resource. They work in sprints. They use the Pomodoro technique or deep work blocks, 45 to 60 minutes of deep, uninterrupted work. During this time, the world does not exist. No phone, no tabs open, no music with lyrics. It is intense. It is tiring. But 45 minutes of deep work is worth 5 hours of distracted library time. Distraction trains a shallow mind, and shallow minds do not get straight A's. You must ruthlessly eliminate the noise if you want to perform at an elite level. This leads directly into step 5, environmental design. We often think that successful people have superhuman willpower. They don't. They just don't put themselves in positions where they need to use it. They design their environment to make success the path of least resistance. This is about systems over intentions. If your phone is next to you on the desk, you will check it. That is not a character flaw. That is human nature. So put the phone in another room. Put it in a drawer. Now, checking it requires physical effort. You've added friction to the bad habit. Conversely, you want to remove friction from the good habits. Have your books open on your desk before you go to bed. Have your water ready. Have your laptop charged. Eliminate the obstacles so that when it's time to work, all you have to do is sit down and begin. And this environmental design extends to your biology. You are a biological machine. You cannot input junk food, deprive yourself of sleep, and expect the machine to output high-performance calculus solutions. It doesn't work that way. Sleep is actually when memory consolidation happens. If you study for 12 hours but only sleep for 4, you have essentially hit the delete button on everything you just learned. You cannot outstudy a bad night's sleep. Prioritizing your physical health is not extra work. It is part of the work. Finally, we arrive at step 6. This is the most abstract step, but it is the foundation of everything else we have discussed. It is the identity upgrade. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, said that true behavior change is really identity change. You will never sustain these habits. The discipline, the active recall, the deep work, if deep down you still see yourself as the lazy student, or the procrastinator, or the person who is just trying to survive. You need to decide right now that you are a top student. You need to adopt the identity before you see the result. When a top student faces a brutal math problem, they don't think, "I'm too stupid for this." They think, "This is hard. Good. That means I'm leveling up." They view failure as data, not as a reflection of their worth. They view challenges as necessary steps, not as roadblocks. Every time you choose to do the active recall instead of scrolling TikTok, you are casting a vote for this new identity. You are proving to yourself who you are. Stop saying, "I'm trying to get A's." Start saying, "I am the type of student who gets A's." And then simply do what that person would do. Fake it until you become it. Eventually, the behavior catches up to the belief. So, here is your roadmap for 2026. Value results over effort. Choose discipline over motivation. Embrace the struggle of active recall. Protect your focus with your life. Design your environment to win. And upgrade your identity. The path to straight A's isn't a mystery. It isn't magic. It is a formula. And it is accessible to anyone. Anyone who is willing to stop making excuses and start building systems. I want you to make a commitment right now. Don't just listen to this and then go back to your old habits. If you are ready to bury the average student mindset, I want you to say it to yourself. Write it down, put it on your wall. I am a straight A student, not I want to be, not I hope so, but I am. Lock in that identity shift right now. 2026 is your year. The blueprint is right here. Now go do the work, the smart work.